front of Quicker, a quarter of a mile to go. Mystery Man makes a sweeping move after Cezanne. Cezanne takes the lead at the top of the stretch, and he now kicks in at the rail. Ray. They're followed on the outside by Charlito, who's also finishing well. Cezanne takes the lead by a length and a half. Charlito closing stylishly on the outside, but Cezanne will take care of business. He cruises late as he's learning a bit and scores at first asking.
All right, welcome back to Racing Rundown on YouTube. In this video, we're talking about one of the 4 remaining Kentucky Derby prep races on the calendar. This is the Shared Belief Stakes at Del Mar, going on a mile and a 16th. This is not a graded stakes race, but it does have the 50, 20, 10, 5 point system, the system that we usually get in March in a normal Kentucky Derby year. 50 to the winner, 20 to second, 10 to third, and 5 to 4th. There are 6 horses entered in this race, but it is very likely we will only get 4 horses running in this race. I'll go through them really quickly and then talk about each of them individually like we do always. The 1 is Uncle Chuck, the 2 is Thousand Words, the 3 is Anno D'Or, the 4 is Kiss Today Goodbye, the 5 is Honor AP, and the 6 is Cezanne. Starting right off the bat, number 1 horse, Uncle Chuck. Really nice Bob Baffert horse. This race last time out in the Los Alamitos Derby, which was his first start in a graded stakes, was really impressive, but it's likely that he's going on to run in the Travers Stakes. So for the purposes of this race, I'll consider him a scratch, but like I said, if he does have a change of plans and runs here, I will 100% say he will be the winner. The number 2 is Thousand Words, and Thousand Words for me is a look against. Even in what could very likely look as to be a 4-horse field, I'm still going to look against Thousand Words here. He does have 2 graded stakes wins, and he is trained by Bob Baffert, so if you're a person who likes to play trainers, pay attention to him. But his 2 wins in graded stakes races were not that good. The Los Alamitos Futurity, which was his first race, a grade 2, back in December, he was running against 4 horses in that race. Anno D'Or, who I'll get to in a minute, he is entered but likely does scratch in this race. High Velocity and Wrecking Crew, all 3 of those horses have come back to run in graded stakes races, and they have extremely disappointed. Really, actually, all 4 of them, but Thousand Words did come back and win a stakes race after, which was the Robert Lewis, and that wasn't really any better than, or the quality of horses he was facing in the Robert Lewis wasn't anything better than he was facing in the Los Alamitos Futurity. He was 4th in the San Felipe in his next start after the Robert Lewis, and then he disappointed extremely in the Oaklawn Stakes. He did run a good second behind Uncle Chuck in the Los Alamitos Derby, but that was in a 4-horse field, so take that with a grain of salt. I look against him here, but if you can talk yourself into thinking the other 3 horses that he will probably be running against here are not that good, and he can run up to the level that he ran in the Los Alamitos Futurity, then you might be able to talk yourself into going with him. But for me, he's a look against. The 3 Anno D'Or is the other horse that is likely going to scratch in this race. It has come out over the course of me doing this video that his trainer is looking to go to Ellis Park for the Ellis Park Derby. So again, another horse that I'm looking at as a scratch for here, but I don't really think Anno D'Or, even if he does run here, is going to factor. He's disappointed in every race he's running since the Los Alamitos Futurity. Did have the second the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but we've talked about how disappointing that Breeders' Cup Juvenile field. Overall, all the horses from that have come back to be. So look against him for me in this race if he does run. But like I said, I don't think he does, so not really factoring him too much into this preview. The 4 horse is Kiss Today Goodbye, and this is another horse that you look at, and at least for me, I don't really put much credence into him. He has run 6 races, he's only won 1 race, and that was his maiden race, and it took him 5 tries to break his maiden, and then once he broke his maiden, he proceeded to run 10th in an allowance optional claimer at Santa Anita on the 17th of May, and he hasn't run since that race. I'm not really saying that the layoff's going to be the reason he loses, but it just hasn't looked like he's anything super talented. So Kiss Today Goodbye was a toss for me. The 5 horse is the class of the field and definitely the most interesting horse in this race, Honor AP, winner of the Santa Anita Derby. I'm not going to talk about or get into the debate of him in terms of the general Kentucky Derby trail. I know there are a lot of people who think he's really good. I will save that for down the road later, but if we're just looking at this race, I think Honor AP is very beatable here. He has won 2 of his 4 career races and has never been out of the money. But there's a couple of things that make me be not super enthusiastic about him. I don't think the Santa Anita Derby win, contrary to popular belief, was very impressive. A lot of people think that was a really impressive race. I have never seen it. My co-host Eric has never seen it. It looked like he was struggling to get by a horse Authentic, who is a miler at best. That's not really going to matter here because there's only 4 horses here. But I just think Honor AP, he's shown in 3 of his 4 races that he's been the type of horse that's going to want to close. And in a race like this where there's 4 horses and there's not really much speed signed on, doesn't really look like that type of run would benefit him. And I don't think he'd be able to get to the lead and beat out any of the other 3 horses, Kiss Today Goodbye, Thousand Words, and Cezanne. So Honor AP probably ends up on the outside looking in, and I don't think that would bode very well for him. So I think he's definitely beatable here. I'm wary as to how good people say he actually is. I've never been a buyer into the hype, and I would definitely look against him in a race like this. And the final horse is another horse that there's a lot of hype on, and another horse that I have been very cynical on, and my co-host Eric has been very cynical on. We don't buy into the hype of Cezanne, the $3.8 million yearling purchase. It took him a while to even get to the track, and if you look at his 2 races that he has running, they have not been anything super impressive. I pointed to a horse like Charlotte, and he won his maiden by 6. He won his next race out by 18. And there's been comparisons of this horse to some of Bob Baffert's greatest by some people out there, and I've just never seen it. He was a winner by 2 1/4 in his maiden at Santa Anita, and then in a race at Los Alamitos, which was a field of, let's call it like it is. The other 3 horses in there were claimers, and he only won that race by a length and 3/4. So I'm not very high on Cezanne at all, but I don't think very highly of any of the other horses in this race. So I kind of look to Cezanne by default. And this is a kind of race that I think that whoever comes out of it is probably going to get a lot more credit for winning this race than they should. I don't think that any of these horses out of this race are a Kentucky Derby winner candidate. I understand that that's a very controversial thing to say, but that's what I feel about the horses in this race, so I'm going to go with Cezanne. There's not really anything else you can say about anything underneath, because underneath is not really going to be a factor here. I went against Honor AP. I would recommend going against him. I think that the hype on him has been very misplaced, and he looks beatable in this race. So I'm going to try to do that. If you do decide to play this race, again, I would not play a 4-horse race, but if you do, for some reason, decide to play this race, good luck. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Honor AP coming with a big, powerful, sweeping move on the outside of Authentic, and Odor there in the final furlong, and Honor AP runs right by Authentic, and Odor at the rail, and Rushy, a 16th to go. Honor AP a length and a half. Authentic, Rushy running on late. It will be Honor AP, a very impressive winner of the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby.